message, "We're still here waiting." Polly has more.
This simple image of a yellow ribbon bow has become a symbol of hope in the wake of one of Korea's deadliest maritime disasters. Its message of one small movement that can lead to big miracles has resonated with people across the nation. The Yellow Ribbon Campaign of Hope was first started by a university student club, urging people to unite in their support for those affected by the tragic accident.
It began as a logo being distributed as a KakaoTalk wallpaper, but it spread to other aspects of everyday life that we can see, like tying a yellow ribbon or string on your backpack. Keeping them in your thoughts is also good.
The Yellow Ribbon Campaign has spread online across social networking services such as KakaoTalk, Twitter, and Facebook, with international celebrities and professional athletes also joining in to express their support for the victims. Meanwhile, the story of Park Ji-young, a 22-year-old crew member, has deeply moved the country. According to survivors, Park had refused to take a life jacket and instead kept trying to save passengers till the very end. Her body was one of the first to be recovered from the wrecked ship. An online petition has now attracted tens of thousands of signatures, calling for the government to designate her as a martyr. Once legally recognized for her sacrifice, Park's family will receive financial compensation and benefits, while her body may be buried in the National Cemetery.
Certificates issued by hospital-level medical
Division Social Services Resources, Ministry of Health and Welfare.
In addition, identification documents from fire departments and other authorities are also required.
The Health Ministry says once it receives a formal application for Park, officials will promptly examine her case for review. Paul Yi, Arirang News.
This is Arirang TV special coverage on the sunken ferry disaster. You're now listening to Arirang Radio.
As the death toll continues to rise, anger and frustration is growing among the families of the victims and the missing, who want to know who is to blame for this man-made disaster. With that, the investigation into those who have been charged in connection with the accident is intensifying. For more on this, we connect live to our Kwon So-ah at the News Center. So the operator of the Seoul ferry is being looked into very carefully and is under suspicion of a number of illegal activities and actions.
Yes, Kanyang, that's right. We learned a few hours ago that prosecutors raided at least 10 locations related to Yoo Byung-on, the former chairman of the operator's parent firm. They include his home and a church he founded. Financial watchdogs have been looking into possible illegal foreign exchange trading and tax evasion. The National Tax Service launched a special probe Tuesday into 4 firms that are closely related to the ferry's operator Cheonghye-jin Marine Company, and imposed travel bans on 30 related personnel. The Yu family was banned from traveling out of the country this past Sunday. The family reportedly has around $240 million worth of assets, and Yu is said to have established 13 overseas corporate branches and used them to snowball the family's assets. Investigations are ongoing and will also be conducted to determine whether the operator was involved in lobbying high-ranking officials in an attempt to skirt regular safety inspections.
All right, so and one man with some of the biggest questions to answer, the captain of Sewol-ho and the crew members may be charged with homicide by omission. Now, tell us what that means.
Yes, Kanyang, as you probably remember, akin to murder was how President Park Geun-hye described the actions of the captain Lee Jun-suk and the crew members. And now investigators are examining whether they could be charged with homicide by omission, which can be pressed in the case of death caused by inaction by the defendant. The joint investigation of prosecutors and police, as well as the Justice Ministry, said on Tuesday they will inspect the legal principles. Captain Lee is currently charged with 5 offenses. They include negligence and violating ship crew law, which requires the crew to remain on the vessel until all passengers escape. Now, to be charged with murder by omission, it will have to be determined that Lee and/or the crew members were willfully negligent, meaning that although they didn't intend to kill the passengers, they didn't care whether they lived or died. This was Kwon So-ah reporting live from the Arirang News Center.
Now, another piece has been added to the puzzle of what may have caused the Seoul to capsize abruptly 1 week ago today. Local media reporting that there may have been a problem with the steering gear of the Seoul ferry at the time of the accident. Our Park Ji-won has the details.
This is a repair request form submitted by the crew of the Seoul ferry to ferry operator Chung Hae-jin Marine Company about 2 weeks before the tragic accident. It says the steering gear of the now sunken ferry was sending no voltage warnings. Crew members said they had to reset the power and rely on an onboard power supply while they were waiting for power to be restored. The request form added the fundamental cause of the issue was unknown. However, the ferry operator took no action on the issue. Korean broadcaster YTN reported Wednesday that a ship repair company that had worked on the Seoul ferry before said it had not repaired the steering gear of the Seoul ferry any time recently, nor had it received any repair requests about the steering gear. Experts say the steering gear is key to safe sailing for a ship, that any problem in the steering gear increases the likelihood of an accident, and that ships with steering system problems should be prevented from setting sail. However, Chung Hae-jin Marine Company appears to have continued to allow the ill-fated Seoul ferry to operate for more than 2 weeks, leading up to the accident last week. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, experts in Japan have run a simulation to try and determine what caused the Seoul to capsize. Well, all signs point to the ferry's cargo, which they believe was not loaded properly. Our Son Jung-in has more.
This is closed-circuit television footage of the Seoul ferry on the day of her departure from Incheon Harbor. Vehicles are loaded onto the vessel one after another, 30 more automobiles than was previously declared. The last vehicle is loaded and just 3 minutes later, the ferry sets sail. Experts say that's not enough time for the crew to correctly secure the freight.
Kohei Professor Emeritus, Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology.
We may have just tied things up loosely before the departure.
Japanese researchers carried out a simulation to find out what happens when freight in a vessel is not fastened up properly. They made a model 1/50th the real size of the Seoul and raised the center of mass in consideration of the fact that the Seoul ferry had been renovated recently. First, they ran the simulation without any cargo. Sailing at 5 kilometers per hour, the same speed as the Seoul, when turned right, the model sharply leaned outward toward the turn due to centrifugal force, but did not capsize. Next, they added some weight to the ship to account for the mass of the freight and fastened it tightly. When given an abrupt turn, the model again tilts sharply to one side, but is able to balance back without falling. Then they tried again, this time with the same amount of weight, but without fixing it properly. At first, it seemed to be navigating smoothly, but as soon as it makes a sharp turn, it listed to one side and capsized in a matter of seconds.
Akihiko
When a
Masuda,
vessel makes a
researcher,
sharp
Japan's
turn
National
without its freight
Research
properly
Institute
fastened,
of
a heavier
Fisheries
centrifugal
Engineering.
force is applied, causing the vessel to list more outward. In extreme cases, the ship can capsize.
It is common for the captain or the chief mate to take at least an hour to make sure all cargo is secure tight before setting sail. Japanese experts say there was no time to do that in the Seoul's case last week, which leads them to believe that improper fastening of the freight may have been the main cause of the accident.